Hey friends, welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I am Nate, coming at you with a new review. This is another Bourbon Junkies single barrel review. This one is going to be the Prideful Goat. They've labeled this pick, the Sophisticated Goat. Got a pretty cool, I'm going to turn it, sticker on it. A little blinding in the light, that's alright. This is a cask strength, unfiltered 6-year-old MGP Rye. So we know that it's 95% rye, 5% malted barley, as is the most classic MGP mash bill, 6 years old. Now the Prideful Goat is a brand that was started in part by Bourbon Real Talk, and that would be Randy Sullivan. He and a couple of other people have collaborated to create the brand, the Prideful Goat, and the Bourbon Junkies have done a pick of it. Now, as you can see, this was a couple weeks ago they did this pick. When you see this, it'll be about 3 to 4 weeks since they did this, when this pick was released. I received it. I'm shooting this video on Tuesday. What's today? The 6th, September 6th. And I got it on Thursday or Friday this past week. Took it into my cigar lounge on Saturday while I was working. A lot of guys in there. There were about 5 of us that really go at my bottles when I go in. And we really like rye. And so we're about a little less than half, a little more than half a bottle. We drank quite a bit of this. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, it is cask strength. It is 116.1 proof or 58.05 ABV. This is bottle number 35. And let's give this a shot. I have had it, obviously, then shared it with a bunch of my friends, and it was very much enjoyed. So now I do not believe I've tried the bourbon. Brian Caffey, if you watch this video, put in the comments. I know you brought I thought it was rye that you brought to Whiskey Weekend. And I did have a pour of that and did enjoy it. I believe that was the rye, but it could have been the bourbon. I think it was the rye because it was this color. Their bourbon is a fully green label, and this kind of tannish color is their rye color for their label. Very nice on the nose, very fruity on the nose. Nice rye spice, but it's not... For some reason, I don't always get overly dominant rye on MGP Rye, even though it is 95% rye grain. I think maybe when you mix it a little bit more with corn and maybe some other things, that draws out some of the Christmassy spiciness that I oftentimes get, the nutmegginess and stuff. But when it's a 95.5, I don't always get that. But and as I say that, I get it now. I am getting baking spices. The proof isn't really hitting on the nose. Baking spices, juicy fruit, not gum, but juice, fruit juice. Trying to pick out what fruit that is. Maybe like a peach, or there was a whiskey that I tried during Pours in the Park. We were doing a private hangout later the first night, Friday night, and it was apricot, and I'm getting some of that on this. Really liking this nose. I've said this on a couple of videos, and I've said this to a couple of friends before. I'm very close to declaring that I prefer rye over bourbon, even though of my collection, I do have mostly bourbon. It's probably about 35 to 40% of my bottles, probably almost 50% bourbon. That's more accessible, it's more common, it's more popular. But I'm really digging rye. Bready. Oh, that's interesting. Proof hits a little bit on the proof's there. This is my first whiskey of the night. I did smoke a cigar about 3.5 hours ago. So I'm not sure how that's still affecting my palate, but there's some it's dark fruit, like pitted fruit. That nice spice that rye gives off. It's delicious. It's weird to say this, but there's almost like a separate wetness. And I know that that's very weird. So I'm doing my best to break it down. But I take it in on my tongue, but then there's a separate layer of wetness, which is weird. I don't know if that's weird. It's liquid, it's wet. But there's something separate to it that's really, really enjoyable. And as you can see, the people that drank this, there was only 4 of us. So there were 5 people that were drinking whiskey. My one coworker, he's not a fan of bourbon and rye. He's more of a Scotch and Irish guy. He actually really liked the Clearwater light whiskey that I brought. That's another story for another time because it was a hilarious time with him. But then it was me and 3 other guys. 2 guys mainly, like this was their main drink. And then me and my buddy Connor were kind of drinking the rest of the stuff that I brought. I usually take 4 bottles with me. And my buddy Greg usually goes for rye. Whenever I always take a rye because that's usually what he goes for. And him and my buddy Jeff, they were going at the rye. I had a pour of the rye. Connor had a pour of the rye. But still fruity, still spicy, but now it's getting a perfumey nose. Not dominantly, it's just there now. This is another fantastic pour from the Junkies. Now, while this pick is sold out, Prideful Goat is not. So check out the Prideful Goat. They don't have massive distribution, which is why I'm really excited to have this bottle. And quite frankly, I'm going to be very scarce with the last 45% of it that I have left because I was really, really looking forward to this pick. And as you can see, it's been enjoyed. And there's a reason why. So they have some distribution. They're gaining more distribution. So they should be a brand that you should be on the lookout for. Just another 95.5 MGP Rye, but it is really good. So happy to have this in my collection. Dana Sean, another good pick. And thanks for watching Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.